Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. No stranger to Guyanese football, Jamal Shabazz has been reappointed head coach and has immediately set his sights on carrying the country to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which will be hosted by the USA, Canada and Mexico. The Trinidad and Tobago native, who was first appointed head coach of Guyana in 2005, had two other separate stints from 2011 and from 2015. He's now into his fourth appointment. Shabazz led Guyana in 50 international matches, and he's encouraged by the expanded CONCACAF spaces to the FIFA World Cup finals. The 2026 World Cup will be an expanded version comprising of 48 teams, with CONCACAF having 6 spots, 3 of which going automatically to the hosts. Well, joining us now is the president of the Guyanese Football Federation, Wayne Forde. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'll start by asking you what prompted the decision to bring back my fellow Trini, Jamaal Shabazz, to the Guyanese camp?
Well, we like to refer to Shabazz as a adopted son of the soil. Jamal is very familiar with the Guyanese football community. He is familiar with our culture. He is widely loved and appreciated by the people. He has an intimate knowledge of our challenges. He understands the depth of the talent pool that we have. So his intimate knowledge of the landscape is really what drove the decision. We really wanted someone that is more connected to Caribbean football, someone that understands what it will take for a Caribbean nation to pursue the ambitious goals that we have set ourselves.
Wayne, Jamal has been with the Guyana, the Golden Jaguars, for 3 stints already. What did he, sell to your team that he's going to be doing differently in this 4th stint?
But it was a conversation where both sides, I think, early in the discussion established some level of comfort in what we can do to help each other, both the GFF Executive Committee and Coach Shabazz. No doubt, the FIFA member associations across the region have access to more resources, and some of us, I believe, have been doing a much better job at how we utilize those resources. So one of the biggest challenges that the sport has experienced in every territory, I believe, up until the 2016 when President Infantino changed the funding structure, was the lack of resources. Travel imposes a tremendous financial burden on member associations, and we've been given significant support for that. So a lot of the other resources that we have is now being invested in infrastructure, in technology, and many of the key components that can help us to grow the game. So I think our commitment to provide the requisite support that the coach would need, and his passion and commitment and love for the game and understanding of the landscape is really what created the synergies that led to his appointment.
Wayne, one of the things I find with coaching appointments in this part of the world, the brief given to our coaches is different from that given to the coaches of the national teams of more advanced footballing jurisdictions. For instance, as an example, as an illustration, coaches here are being asked to develop grassroots football, to develop youngsters, then to develop the national team to a level to impose a philosophy and a style, and then to qualify teams for tournaments. That is too much and so much on one plate. Other coaches elsewhere, they have a structure in place, and their job basically revolves around qualifying a team for a major tournament and having the team play well at that major tournament. With that on the table, what is Jamal Shabazz's main task? Is it to qualify Guyana for major tournaments, Gold Cup, World Cup, or is it to develop footballing talent, or is it everything?
Right. Well, I would start off by saying that maybe one of the reasons why you have such an exhaustive assignment for coaches in our region is because of where the game is in our region as compared to some of the other parts of the world that you referred to. But in Shabazz's case, we simply want someone they have to have reason to believe in this mission that we've set ourselves. So Coach Shabazz is focused on delivering results. So his immediate task is putting building a good management team around himself, and then starting the tedious task of identifying the players at the right age group that will mature at the right time, will be picking at the right time for some of the those qualifiers that we will no doubt have to undertake. So our Guyana football has been set up quite differently from the time I came in 2015. We have a technical director that lives in Guyana, and he is tasked with providing the structures for all those youth development and the other programs that you mentioned earlier. So Coach Shabazz doesn't have that burden of responsibility. Yes. He simply has to put together a team that will inspire confidence and trust from the entire Guyanese society.
Crucially, given how, well, you could almost describe football in many CARICOM territories, or even beyond CARICOM in this part of the world, as a case of arrested development, where the throughput of players from the junior ranks to the senior ranks is concerned. So I say that to say that most nations here are qualifying teams to major competitions using players who are playing overseas and are in the professional ranks, not even semi-professional anymore. We know the disruption caused to football in many Caribbean countries, including Guyana. So is it that there is a network in place, or will a network be put in place then to recruit the players overseas who have those Guyanese links? You are going to sift through passports and other documents now to find those links, to afford Shabazz and his team the best available talent to put together a unit strong enough to attempt to qualify for major tournaments.
I think we have already embarked on that. A significant complement of our national team is made up of players that are applying their craft in other parts of the world. We have players in the UK, in the United States, in Israel, in Canada. So we have players spread across the globe. Many of these players are second and third generation Guyanese, and it kind of triggers a lot of debate back here. But oftentimes when we look very carefully at the debate, we realize that it's not well thought out, because we have Guyanese from similar lineage that come back and serve Guyana in many other fields, in engineering, in medical, and no one quarrels with the fact that they would have gone overseas and studied and qualified themselves, and here they are serving the greater good of the country. So that will definitely be a factor that.
So Wayne, just before you finish that thought, will you impose a quota on Jamal Shabazz though? Will the federation say to him, look, we don't want you fielding an 11 of entirely overseas-based Guyanese. You must have some local representation in it. Or will you say, look, just put the best selection out there and let the chips fall where they may?
I will answer this almost word for word of a conversation I had with Coach, actually just a few hours ago, before I drove 60-something miles to the mining town of Linden, where I am right now, some football business. And I said to the coach that any Caribbean country who does not connect the credibility of the offices that they hold with developing local talent to the extent that they can be featured in the highest level of competition is lost. With that being said, we have to compete in every tournament that we enter. And the coach assignment is to put together the strongest possible team. But while he's doing that, he has to understand the significance of the people that are back home, the credibility that we want from the developmental programs that we've been implementing. He has to make that very delicate balance. So I don't think it is fair to impose a quota on any coach when you're demanding positive results at the same time. So it is important that there is some kind of connection between what is taking place at the developmental level and the level of talent from the local pool, the players that might be playing at home or even left home and is playing in higher leagues in other parts of the world, that he can reintroduce them into the program and have them out there. If you're not doing that, you are doing something that doesn't, I don't believe it will reflect the true spirit of the nation, and I think that can be problematic, and it has been problematic for many countries, and we've had our challenges with that in the past as well.
Yeah. Wayne, I want to pick up on something that Mariah had put to you earlier on in this discussion, and you answered it, but I think I would like a more extensive answer from you on this, because the fact that he is now going on his 4th stint as the head coach, means that 3 times before now he either quit or was sacked or, mutual agreement to depart. So it would have been a situation where he didn't like what had happened previously. What is so right about now that brings him back for a 4th time? Because this is not normal, is it?
Well, I wouldn't go out on a limb and say that he did not like. I mean, I wasn't there. On two of those occasions, Coach Shabazz would have resigned. I think in 2016 after the Gold Cup qualifiers, when the last game that we played against Jamaica, I think that was his last game in charge with the Golden Jaguars. And I don't think it had anything to do with a displeasure, because my expo would have only been in office for just over 8 weeks, I believe. I think he certainly had other plans, and he probably felt it was the end of one cycle, and he was going to move on and do something different. People need to do things like that. So I believe. I think that Coach Shabazz, like anyone else involved in our regional football, has been paying attention to what we've been doing as an administration, and I think he felt that the right pieces were in place to help him to do much more than he has been able to do in the past. I did mention before that, we obviously have more resources. You must know Guyana is entering into a phase of prosperity that we've never experienced before. So there's a lot of optimism around what can happen, not just for sport, but the entire country. And we're hoping that some of that prosperity is visited on football. So we all know that resources play a critical role in the development of the game and in managing a national team to ensure that the team remains very active and playing in different corners of the world, playing against different styles, different opponents, different confederations. So it will require huge resources to make this happen. And I think the coach felt that the environment was right, and we felt that the environment was also right for someone that understood a little bit more than the average coach about Guyana, and it just but we think it's a good fit, and time will tell, but we're very positive, and I will go on record saying that Coach Shabazz will have 100% support from the executive committee.
Yeah, Wayne, you sound a little bit like a politician there, but we thank you for joining us. I suspect that the fact that he took Guyana the furthest they had ever been in a World Cup qualifying did not hurt his cause as well. But thanks for talking to us, and we'll be in touch. We'll be following the Guyana football program pretty closely from here on in.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and do have a good evening.
Yeah, great. That's Wayne Forde, president of the Guyana Football Federation. Still to come on the SportsMax Zone, we'll tell you all about FIFA's proposal to reduce the waiting time for fans to enjoy the World Cup from 4 years to 2 years.